Hi guys. Today we're gonna take a good look at Grapejuice's Midfight Fundamentals series, and we're gonna try to take what he says in that video and apply it to how to play Bagel mids. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video really quick. Let me pull it up. Juice Midfight. Here it'll be top. Yep, right there. Perfect.
Midfights are a staple of sixes.
I love this guy. He's just such a nice guy. Honestly, just truly the best. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm a little big. Let me Okay, perfect.
TF2, and it's no surprise that a team that struggles to win mid will also struggle to win games.
So
I'm
true.
Grapejuice, and
So
today
true.
I'm here to teach you all about the fundamentals of winning mid fights, including general team-based stuff, certain mid-fight layouts, as well as some class-specific tips to improve your game on an individual level. Part 1 sounds easy, and it may seem condescending to even mention, but your whole team should be coming to mid with a plan, and everyone's actions should be in service of the plan. If your team wants to go to the right this mid, go to the right this mid. You want to go left? Go left. Across? Across. A simple
So I
thing
guess you
like
can
this
only
will
go
lead to
across from
fewer
there. That makes
unnecessary
sense.
deaths that will snowball for the rest of the mid fight, and potentially the rest of the round. Two exceptions to this are demo men and roaming soldiers, because they are usually the first two players to mid. In the demo man's case, you can call out that you would like to change the plan based on if your early damage is very good, or if you mess up your rollout. In the roamer's case, you can do a fast rollout onto the enemy demo man, or onto high
Fireball.
ground for early spam damage, and then jump away to the rest of your team
Right,
without
right.
getting killed. The two most common mid-fight layouts are the pace-based mids and the direction-based mids. A pace-based mid revolves around how quickly your team plans to directly engage the enemy team, with the basic strategies being to hang back and let your soldiers
looks
or dome
almost
man
like
deny
Bagel.
the enemy team
I
from
wonder if we
crossing
could
the
just
point
copy-paste
and getting your scouts to kill the
Goalie
soldiers
walk.
who land on your dome man and medic, while the other basic strategy
Let's
being
both
to
got
jump
the
your
nipple, you
soldiers
know?
across early, landing on the dome man or medic with your scouts, demo, and medic following up your soldiers across the point. A direction-based mid is how it sounds, but they tend to be a bit more complex than the pace-based mids. This is because there is more variation on how a mid can play out. That might sound intimidating, but at its most basic level, all it really boils down to is committing to a side regardless of where your opponents go, committing to the opposite side that your
It's like
opponents
committing
go,
to a
and
house.
rotating around
That makes
mid
sense.
while your team trades damage and fights for superior positioning, or committing to the same side that your opponents go and engaging in an all-out DM fight. Where the strategy lies in a mid-fight is being able to anticipate what your opponent wants to do and applying an appropriate counter. For example, on process mid, if the enemy team insists on playing your right side every mid, you can play a central rollout where your demo contests the point and the health pack, your scouts play the high ground on the rock and point, and your soldiers are ready to bomb off the left wall or over the point, when your demo man can then walk back to the right side and crush the enemy team in the corner. As another example, on Metalworks, let's say that the enemy medic decides to walk out backdoor into Valley to avoid taking early spam damage, and their scouts play more passively to get ready to clean up your jumping soldiers who've been bombing aggressively all game.
How did I not
At
even
this
think
point,
about
if you
that?
know that their medic is going to go out backdoor because they
That
fear
is crazy.
spam, your team can now make the adjustment where instead of playing for your soldiers to commit to dying with their bombs so your team can follow up, they instead jump onto the middle point high ground as your team walks forward and puts pressure on the Valley, ultimately locking the combo out. Which mid you attempt to do is generally up to the demo man, who on a map like Sunshine or Process will call out which side of the map they'd like to roll out to. Like I mentioned earlier, your demo may also call out a change of plans if he messes up his rollout, so it's important for your team to be ready to adapt to
The
the
Bagel
call.
roll is pretty hard.
A general tip that I have is to practice a variety of mid plans during your scrims. Having an inventory of strategies at your disposal will help your team be more well-rounded for your big matches. It's okay to have a strategy that you are more comfortable with, but you should aim to be at least a little comfortable on all the basic strategies going into your matches, as you never know when you'll have to throw the changeup that can save your team the game. Earlier in part 1 I mentioned spam a couple of times, and with good reason. It is a tool that is not to be underestimated. Hitting a 30 damage rocket on the medic doesn't sound like a lot, but what if your demo man also hit the medic with a 60 damage sticky bomb? That's 90 damage on a medic who is now very afraid of
90
walking
damage is
forward
bigger
to
than
heal their
30.
teammates up ahead of them. Something similar can be said for scouts, who need the health in order to contest high ground effectively, or a demo man whose presence alone can make a team fear walking forward. This example doesn't even take into account the fact that explosives can hit multiple players at the same time with splash damage. Imagine hitting 60 damage on 3 separate players all because you took your time
Oh,
and
dropped
lined
the
up some
cable.
shots across the map. With all that in mind, your opponents will be trying to do the same thing right to you. Pay attention to your surroundings and make mental notes of what your opponents like to do each mid to avoid taking unnecessary rockets and sticky bombs. The enemy's damage on your team will add up over time just as the same as your damage onto them, and will equally cripple your team just as it cripples their team. A common question a lot of new players have is about who the most important player on the enemy team is to focus. Is it the medic? A medic can heal their teammates, and being healthy and using Ubers is obviously super important. Is it the demo man? Sticky bombs and pipes are two of the highest damage dealing weapons in TF2. Surely the demo needs to be dealt with ASAP. Soldiers can rocket jump around like flies on acid, and scouts are powerful in 1v1s.
Wow. We didn't even need to watch the whole thing. That was crazy. I think my team's going to be totally set for this. I just got to watch this review. Didn't even do the whole video. Well, alright. Thank you guys for joining me on the Bagel and Mac review. If I do another one for next week, just let me know what you guys want.